Okay, we're all set, everyone. Please go ahead and raise your hand for questions for Curt, who we are happy to have back with us. Charlotte?
Hi, Curt. Nice to see you and thinking of your family. How is your mom doing? If you care to share, I understand if you don't, but hope she's doing well.
Thanks, Charlotte. Yeah, bittersweet, incredible support by the organization. Feel incredibly supported by the team and the coaches. Coaches sacrifice a lot in this profession. We play through holidays. We miss a lot of special events from family members throughout our careers. But this was of a time where I truly appreciated the support, allowing me to step away, knowing that we were in good hands with the coaching staff and knowing that I truly felt supported from the top of the organization and then the players. My mom is battling, is obviously hard, learning minutes before the Seattle game that she had the stroke, coached with a heavy heart on that Sunday. But fortunately was able to get home for 4 full days with family. My mom is still in the hospital. She's on a rehabilitation wing of the hospital right now, dealing with intensive physical and occupational therapy. So she's a tough cookie and she's battling. And I appreciate the well wishes and the thoughts and prayers.
Jacqueline?
Hi, Curt. Good to see you again. Glad to have you back and glad to hear that your mom's doing okay. I have a few USA basketball questions for you, courtesy of some of my friends at the Next. Just from a committee perspective, what was the general thoughts around balancing out the roster between just Olympic veterans and some Olympic rookies?
At first, an honor of a lifetime to serve on a very selective committee over the last 4 years, with, the task of picking national teams and the senior national team. So anytime, it doesn't matter what role, coaching role, on-floor coaching at events, it is an honor of a lifetime to represent your country. And so really have enjoyed the last 4 years a part of this selective 5-member committee that is tasked with picking some of these teams. Obviously, I think heading into this Olympic year, I thought it was going to be a relatively easy task. Unfortunately, with all the injuries to some of the superstars and legends of the game, from Angel McCoughtry to Elaine Deladon to Nneka Agumake, to Diana Taurasi, the task of putting this roster together to best put us in position for another gold medal took on more challenges than we would have thought going into this year. But along with the committee, feel like we've put together a great team for Dawn and her staff. And feel like we have versatility, feel like we have a lot of different type of lineups that we can play depending on the style of the opposing team. So look forward to seeing their journey ahead.
And a little bit about Ariel Atkins, what stood out about her and kind of pushed her to the top?
Yeah, I think, Ariel has really played her way onto the team. She's a two-way player. She's a, terrific shooter, can space the floor, but she's also one of the better defending threes. As this team has gotten a little bit older, her ability to play and defend at the big three is really important for us. As it allows Breanna Stewart to not have to play the three exclusively with the great post players that we have. And so, allowing a versatile lineup that allows Bree Stewart to play at the 4 with this team at times was important. So finding a young defender for Dawn and her staff, a player that could also help space the floor, was important for us.
Thank you, Curt. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
John?
Coach, John Liuzzi from the Marquette Wire in Milwaukee. A couple questions about Natisha Heineman. Since she's joined the Sun from a rookie season in 2019, what has stood out to you that has been so consistent of her play on and off the court?
Well, first off the court, she's a terrific teammate. She's a popular teammate. She brings us a positive energy. She's absolutely a pleasure to coach. She adds to what I believe is so important, and that's, a championship locker room, a culture of family, a culture of togetherness. On the court, I think she's a terrific ball screen point guard. I think she can score with the ball in her hands. She's a good catch and shoot 3-point shooter, so she can really help space the floor for you. And again, you arguably our best ball screen scoring point guard on the roster. So she has been a pleasure to work with, and I believe continues to deserve mention as one of the most improved in the league.
Where do you see her biggest growth this year from her past 2 seasons? But as we know that she's taken that big growth this year, and you just mentioned in the running and in the talks of the most improved player in the league.
Yeah, certainly it's a confidence is her biggest growth. It's a leadership. With Jasmine Thomas missing all training camp and Bree January missing all but a few practices of training camp, it was Natisha Heideman's team, right? She ran our team the entire training camp, which allowed her to have, her voice be heard. And so the biggest growth for me is just watching that confidence, watching that leadership.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Alexa?
Hi, Curt. Good to see you and thinking of your family and your mom. I have some questions about the Sun and then also some about USA basketball. In terms of the Sun, what did you see from afar from the Chicago series, the good, the bad, the ugly, and how that'll what that means for you guys moving forward into this week's worth of games?
Yeah, obviously now my second and third games watching through the television. So excruciating first in that role. Hard to be away from, your basketball family and people that you love so much and care so much for. The interesting aspect of being in a living room watching a game and not on the sideline, it slows down. So you certainly see things more clearly. You're not as emotional with the officials. You're not as emotional and caught up in the emotion of the game. So it was very easy to see things. It was really slow for me. So as you can imagine, it was just jumping out of my skin, trying to, help from afar and knowing I really couldn't. But you saw some of the warts, right? And now the challenge to the team is first, we all look inwardly. What can we all individually do a little bit better? And then collectively from peer accountability, how can the peers in that locker room, how can the players specifically hold each other accountable more so we have less slippage? There's no one thing, you can point to turnovers and points off turnovers. You can point to inefficiency on too many possessions offensively. It's not just one thing. It's a combination of things when you come up short. Had a really good conversation with the team today. And, just life lessons, through hardships, you learn so many life lessons. I've learned so much over the last week with my mom's stroke. And basketball teaches you so many life lessons, the highs and the lows. You can never be too high. You can never be too low. When you win games and you're result driven only, you're doing yourself a disservice. When we were 8-2, we would do ourselves a disservice if we didn't see some of the warts, if we didn't see some of the slippage during those 10 games. And while I come back in as a perfectionist and challenge the team that we need to be better here, here, and here, in order to, to really achieve some of the goals that we have set. You can, it's never as good as you think when you win, and it's never as bad as you think when you lose. So we just had some real honest talk, and it all starts with each other. I look in the mirror, what can I be better in this stretch? The players have to look individually in the mirror and see what they can be better.
Thank you. And then for the Olympic roster, obviously selection committees always have to think about balancing bringing in experienced players and veterans with trying to introduce newer, younger players into the mix. And so how did you think you guys were able to balance that? And what excites you about, I believe 6 of the 12 are going to be playing in their first Olympics. So what excites you about those players too?
I'm excited for each and every one of them, from the returners to, watching Sue and Diana go for, another gold medal, and watching them still be arguably the best in their positions in the world. It's just remarkable, to watch some of the GOATs of the game continue to prepare and put themselves in position to be on this team again. But excited about the young group. Excited about the versatility, excited about, the new group moving forward, and trying to continue to be, one of the most dominant team sports in all of the Olympics. It's just pretty unprecedented what United States women's basketball has done. So excited about what this team, can be, and look forward to Dawn and her staff working to gel everyone with this new unit.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ned, you'll be the last question, unless Doug has a question. I know Count on late for Curt.
Afternoon, Curt. Welcome back. Sympathies for what your mom and your family and you are having to endure right now. What is the thumbnail scouting report on Dallas and, their somewhat new look here?
Yeah, Dallas is, truly one of the talented offensive teams in the league, in the top 3 in scoring. Their pace is incredible. You just watched them have a game where they made 17 threes. So, everything starts in transition. They're really going to be in attacking mode. And they can really, really score the basketball. So you talk about transition first, then you talk about their 3-point shooting. 33% of their attempts are threes. So they're going to take the 3-point shot every, 1 in every 3 shots. But then they do such a great job offensive rebounding. They're arguably the best rebounding team in the league. I think they're second in the league in second chance points. So they're shooting threes, but they're also getting a bunch of offensive rebounds. And then with all their scoring that they do is they're number 1 or number 2 on baskets that are unassisted. What does that tell you? They're terrific one-on-one players late in the shot clock. Absolutely terrific. You can do a great job guarding systems. You can have a great game plan for their, how they're going to attack you. But ultimately, you got to sit your butt down in a stance, guard late in the clock against some of the best one-on-one players in the league. So I have a lot of respect. They've been in every single game. They don't get blown out. They put themselves in position to win each and every night. They're a very dangerous team, Ned.
Thanks.
Any other questions for Curt? Okay,